What up, y'all? It's your boy Shake. The views and opinions of this podcast are mine and do not reflect the opinions of any game developer, inside information, or any game company. These are my goddamn thoughts. If you are offended by controversial takes on gaming, broken English, and/or gratuitous cussing, you should turn away now. If not, welcome to the first episode of WaggleFest Gaming, and I am joined by my homie, Brooklyn Wolf, the Collector. We're about to talk about this Nintendo Direct. They announced it this morning at 9 o'clock. And we're just going to jump into some predictions, our hopes, our wants, and kind of figure out what it might be. What's the deal, Brooklyn Wolf?
What's going on, my fellow gamers? Brooklyn Wolf back at it again with a podcast with my good friend, WaggleFest, your host with the most, Franklin.
Right, thank you.
What's going on, buddy?
Thank you. I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. So I think the first thing that we got to talk about is the fact that the leakers and specifically Switchforce was dead on. They were spot on with the date. They knew that Nintendo was going to observe 9/11 as a sensitive and memorial date or day of remembrance for us in the United States. And they're doing this Nintendo Direct on a Friday, which is big, bro.
Yeah. It's an hour, and speculations are running high. For me personally, though, I'm going in there with lowered expectations because of the last Direct, which didn't really light. It didn't make me go up to cloud nine. You know, that's like a good way of describing it. It was underwhelming, and I'm cautiously optimistic. Actually, no, I don't know. I don't know what I am anymore. I'm just.
No, that's real. And I think when it comes to Nintendo Directs, we have to definitely temper our expectations. I do think with the partner Direct, they kind of misread the room a little bit. Not that it was a bad Direct. I think that there were too many games that didn't speak to what the Switch 2 audience was looking for, especially coming after what used to be E3 season, where we would get the big June Direct. And I think also just, shortly after Switch's Direct and the release of Donkey Kong Bonanza, we wanted to know what was coming up. And I think that this is an opportunity for Nintendo to really showcase 3 months into the system's life cycle, or at least being on store shelves, what's coming up. And I think that this is actually going to be the moment where we see some big third-party games. Not necessarily new games, but some major third-party ports. What do you think?
There was that leak saying that the number 7 is going to show up a few times. So we all know Final Fantasy 7 is going to get a release date. And then the other remaining 7s, we don't know what that is. My personal wants are Capcom related. I would like to see the Resident Evil remake series get a straight up, not the cloud version, but a native port. And also, we've had this conversation many times. I would want them to be on a game cartridge. I don't want no key card bullshit.
What's interesting, and I didn't consider, as you were mentioning the Capcom thing, I do think we're going to see Capcom come in force. I really do believe that we're going to see RE 2, 3, 4 remakes. I think we will see Resident Evil Village. I think we'll see, honestly, I'm not hedging my bets on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they are working on a port of Monster Hunter Wilds. I don't know that that's going to be the game that they show footage of, but they might have like a title card saying, hey, coming in 2026. And I think that, that was one of the highlights of the partner Direct for me, the fact that they opened up with Monster Hunter Stories 3, which looked gorgeous. Again, I'm just a fan of cel shading. But I didn't think about your point of the game key cards. I think that could be one of the biggest takeaways from this Direct, and I don't think anyone's talking about it, but this might be the moment where certain companies announce their games and they will mention that the games will be on cartridge, and it'll be very like, even that announcement, as subtle as it might be, it would have huge repercussions and ramifications. And I think like Nintendo fans will go crazy if major companies or third parties, even some indies, are like, hey, we've got these games coming, but they're coming and they will be full on cartridge and not key cards. I didn't think about that, and I think that that's a big prediction actually for this direct. That's a dope one. um I, similar to you, I definitely expect that we're gonna see that one of the things that I actually think might, and I'm going to make a video about this. I think one of the things that no one is expecting to show up at this direct, and even if it doesn't show up at this direct, I think it is coming to Switch too. I think it's Marvel Tokon.
Okan?
I think Tokon is going to come to Switch. And again, it could show up at this direct, but I have a lot of suspicions as to why this would be happening. I mean, I'm going to make a video about this for the channel, but one of the things I think is that, like, there was already the Sony job posting about having games coming to Nintendo platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw Lego Horizon come to the Switch. I think, one, when you have a Marvel license and you have something as big as this Marvel crossover fighter, because fighting games are such a niche genre, right? Most fighting games don't break 10 millions in sales, maybe even 5 to 6. Like, if a fighting game sells that many copies, it is a runaway success in that genre specifically. And I think that Sony would want to have that game on as many consoles as possible, again, because it's a Marvel license, it's a crossover fighter. And I think if there is any game that would or should be coming to Nintendo, I think it's Marvel Tokon. In the same way that they bought Helldivers to Xbox, I think Tokon is going to be one of the games that's coming to Switch too. And I think it's a perfect game, cell shaded graphics. It's made by Arc System. They did a fantastic job in porting Guilty Gear Strive on the original Switch. They did a fantastic job with Dragon Ball FighterZ on Switch. So this is a company that already knows how to handle, like compressing a game to put it, in a hybrid system.
Yeah.
I actually think Marvel Tokon is going to come to Switch too. It might show up here, it might not, but I do believe it's coming to Switch. And I would love to see it in this direct, because I think that would break the internet as well.
Yeah, that is definitely I'm sorry, that is definitely wishful thinking. I think it's going to come out on the PlayStation 5 first. It's going to be on there for quite some time, I think. And it might be a game that will eventually trickle down to the Switch 2 and probably Xbox Series. But right immediately before launch, nah, I don't think so. But it'd be nice. It'd be nice. The game looks fantastic. Yeah, I think it's just a little wishful thinking.
I think it's far-fetched.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'll say this much: if it does show up at this direct or in the near future, I am officially your #1 Switch leaker.
Here's a crazy thought. I'm thinking it's either going to be, from the Microsoft side, it's either going to be a Halo tease or Gears of War.
You know what's funny? I do think that we will see both of those. Well, let me not say I think we'll see both of them. I think what we will see is Microsoft make a commitment to Switch 2. I hope that we see Gears and Halo, but almost certain I think we're going to see the most recent Doom game get announced, The Dark Ages.
Okay, that's a fair one. That's a fair one. But let's bring the conversation to the Nintendo front. I think it's high time that they're going to reveal a release date for Metroid Prime 4, because the last game, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I think the other tentpole, Kirby, when's that releasing?
That's the holiday game. That's coming out like in November, which actually
November.
surprised me.
Okay, so that means if Metroid Prime 4's release date is revealed tomorrow, oh sorry, on in the direct, I think it's either going to be, it can't be a Halloween game. It's got to be Christmas. It has to be.
You know, it's funny. I also think that Metroid Prime, people are hoping that it's going to come out like, in either October or November. And I think that Pokemon is so big, and also Pokemon is coming out in the middle of October.
Oh,
right?
Snap. Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Like I think that October 17th date is it's because it's so smack dab in the middle, that is the tentpole game. And I could see them positioning Metroid Prime 4 with Kirby, because it's kind of like not necessarily the same audience. But I think if development is going well, and I know that it had recently been rated by one of like the international rating boards, so it's probably like in a really good place and ready to go. I think that slips into like the early December time slot that Nintendo typically has for some games. Like wasn't there like a Smash game that had come out like in early December? It wasn't quite like pre-Black Friday release in November, but it came out like early December. And I think that Metroid Prime 4 slips into that early December slot.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that makes some sense. December, it's about right. But do you think we're going to see them announce Mario?
You know, it's funny. I think I'm a little conflicted. I definitely think Mario shows up, and I think Mario shows up in a big way, not just because it's his 40th birthday and anniversary, right? And I definitely don't want to go through what I went through for the 35th anniversary with getting the pin set and all of the rewards through My Nintendo, because that was crazy. That crashed the Nintendo website. I do think we'll see something. I think they may do a re-release of the Mario 3D collection. Maybe it's an enhanced version that has Super Mario Odyssey. I think maybe we see a Mario Wonder version, like a Switch 2, like a legit true to form Switch 2 version, like what they've been doing with the recent Kirby and the Forgotten Lands, maybe some DLC. I think that we'll see a sneak peek of something Mario related. I think it'll be a tease. If we got full blown Mario footage, I'd be surprised. I think that Nintendo fans everywhere would just rejoice and start crying. And let me be clear, I'd be one of them, right? Like, yeah. It's been so long since Odyssey. But I don't think we're going to see Mario in that way. I think we'll see a lot of Mario related content, like the 3D world. I also think that this is, speaking of Mario, I think that this is an opportunity for Nintendo to correct what's been going on with Mario Kart World and some of the controversy around just the game. I think they'll announce not like true to form DLC. I think we might get some DLC, like in the form of additional costumes for Pauline and Donkey Kong to kind of tie into Bonanza. We might even see some like additional tracks or something. I don't know how they'll do it, but I think there's going to be a significant update that's coming to Mario Kart, and we'll get some sort of DLC pipeline that we can look forward to. I think they really want that game to succeed, and honestly, I think like it's kind of like it's removed itself from the conversation of relevancy around Switch 2.
Okay, it's a fair point. I think we're going to see another compilation, and in that compilation, we're going to see Galaxy 2.
Yep.
I don't know what it's going to be coming packaged with. There's got to be another game that flanks it, but Galaxy 2 is going to be revealed. You said it's a 40th anniversary, right?
Yeah. So wait, you
Yeah.
think Galaxy 2 will be you don't think they'll do an update to the 3D collection, but they'll package Galaxy 2 as something else, almost like a Mario 3D World with Bowser's Fury?
No, I think it's gonna be straight up another compilation
A
with Galaxy
different
2 in there.
wow. Oh wow. So basically, but I love this idea, and I want to kind of like nudge you a little bit. Like, what do you think they would package Galaxy 2 with, though?
That is the question, right? I don't know, to be honest. It's either going to be maybe one of the 3DS games.
Oh wow, wow. You know what's funny? I never thought about that. Like, if they did a high-res version of Mario 3D World or 3D Land, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
3D
3D
Land. Yeah,
Land.
3D Land.
Wow,
No, but wait a
that
minute. Wait a minute. Doesn't 3D World sort of replace 3D Land though?
I mean, yes and no, but I think that like they're different games, and I feel like 3D Land was definitely critically acclaimed when it came out. I think it definitely became one of the games that best utilized glasses free 3D on the 3DS.
Hmm.
And I think if they just did maybe remaster of that game,
Yeah.
that packaged with Galaxy 2 could be a very compelling package.
See, the interesting thing with that possibilities because of that patent that was filed with that second screen for this apparently for the Switch too. Like I don't know, I don't know if that's gonna amount to anything, but I don't know. Like that, it might launch with Mario All Stars 2, 3D All Stars 2, and might have like you're gonna get that second screen, and to get the full effect, you have to buy that. Of yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I mean, listen, it's really interesting, right? So, I mean, I've seen the patent, and truth be told, I don't put a lot of stake or faith in the patents that Nintendo registers. Not because they aren't real, but I think that like sometimes Nintendo does stuff just to protect itself. I don't know how I feel about like a second screen attachment, and to be quite honest, I think if this were a real thing that they were going to bring to the market, mass market, I worry that it would be a really expensive peripheral.
yes, it will be.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that people are still complaining about the price point of the Switch in general at
Yeah.
450 and 500. And I can't reasonably imagine that they'll be like, here's this other screen that you have to connect to your system, because at that point unless they did a bundle and like the game with the screen was like $100, and
No,
I don't believe it would be that um consumer friendly in price.
no, it won't because even the microphone, um, was like what, $90 or something like that. Like it was like really expensive.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, like a second screen, yeah, it's not gonna be 100. It's not gonna be
yeah,
sub. No way.
yeah. Like
Um,
I don't. Yeah. So I mean, but
so
I
wait,
mean, that
let's
could be
dig deep.
cool.
Let's dig deep. Okay, so what can be paired with Galaxy 2? Right? Like, or unless that could just be Nintendo Super Mario 3D All Stars 2, and it's just that one game with a bunch of extras, like more levels or something like that.
You know what? I think that, to me, that seems a bit more reasonable. Like if they redid like Mario Galaxy 2, but kind of in the style or fashion of Mario Odyssey. Like if it's a remaster, like, well, not a remaster, but like an actual remake, right?
Mhm.
New assets, new graphics, high res, like widescreen, all of that stuff.
Oh my god, and camera control. Oh,
Like exactly. Like I think if they did something like that, that is something to absolutely get excited about. Um,
No, you know what, man? I don't think they're going to do that because I think because you look at Bowser's Fury, that is a hint of where they're going to go next with Mario. Open world traversal and stuff like that. So I cannot imagine them pouring so many resources into remastering or remaking Galaxy 2. I think it's just going to be a straight up remaster. It's not going to be a remake. Yeah, yeah, that's my thought on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, it's so tough to say because like so much of this is just like speculation. I do hope we see Galaxy 2. I think that there are lots of rumors. I'd be really curious to see how they present this game. I think that the lowest hanging fruit and the easiest way for them to do this is to repackage the 35th anniversary 3D All-Stars collection as a 40th anniversary collection and include Galaxy 2 in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be really dope. But we'll see. I think that what I'm most curious to come out of this direct though is like Nintendo's overall look into 2026. And I think staying on just kind of on Mario, because the movie is going to be coming out in spring of 2026. I think we've got to see something significant to tie in. Because I feel like that was the biggest thing that Nintendo hadn't done when the first movie came out. There was no real game tie-in. Like by the time Mario Wonder came out, the movie had already been out of theaters. It was already like on demand, on Blu-ray, all of that stuff. I feel like if they can find a way to tie in a game with the film, that will be absolutely nuts. And I would love to see that because I think that the first film was an enjoyable film. You know, it wasn't like Oscar worthy, but it was a fun Mario film.
It was such a great film for what it set out to accomplish. Yeah, you know what? I just a side note. I want to see video game tie-ins, movie tie-ins again. I want to see a resurgence. I miss those days because it's like gambling. You know, you never know which.
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny.
You don't know which ones are going to be the good ones or the bad ones, and when the good ones drop, you're like, "Yo, this is amazing."
Exactly, like the Mummy Demastered, right? Like the tie-in that came many moons after, but was like a great Metroidvania.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I think that'd be cool. I'm really curious to kind of see what happens with this upcoming, because they've got to do something for Mario. And I don't know what it is, but I would love to see a traditional 3D platform Mario game shown. And I think, like, again, the lowest hanging fruit for me, in my estimation, is Mario Galaxy 2. But I really want to know what Nintendo has in store for the Switch 2, because I think while I think the Switch 2 launch has been successful on all accords, and specifically because of how third parties have shown up, and I've been singing the praises of, you know, Sega with Yakuza 0, Capcom with Kunitsugami and Street Fighter 6, which are incredible ports, 2K with WWE 2K25, and now we have Ubisoft with Star Wars. I really want to see what the first party lineup is looking like going into the next year, because I think that comparatively speaking, what we saw with Switch 1, there were so many amazing games that came out in that initial year. People forget that we had Splatoon 2, we had Breath of the Wild, we had Odyssey, you know, there was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like there were so many games. There was Xenoblade Chronicles 2, all in 2017. And I just don't think that Nintendo has had that kind of rollout. We had Mario Kart World, we've got Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I think what I want to see from them is the next major step in their first party rollout. So I think like the Splatoon game they announced, Splatoon Raiders. I think that that goes into 2026. But I think there's some other big franchises that I would love to see. I don't know if we get it all in this direct, but I hope that we see Fire Emblem, because Fire Emblem has typically been like a January game or first quarter game for them. And there's been talks of Fire Emblem, and I think that game has grown in popularity. Um, but like I don't even know what to say. I just want to see some major Nintendo franchises in a big way, because I just don't think we've seen that just yet. I don't think we're going to see Animal Crossing. I don't think we're going to see Animal Crossing in year
We
one.
absolutely will. We absolutely will. I'm calling it.
You think so?
Yes, yes. They have to. They have to. As you mentioned before, the first year for Switch was one for the ages. It was legendary, right? Like you can't beat it. So it's here's that's the funny thing. You can't beat it, but so far Nintendo hasn't really tried, and that's what's kind of bumming me out, right? I have the system, I love it. Unfortunately, I haven't really played much because I'm taking care of my baby, but I love the system because it's what I wanted for so long, right? But at the same time, I could recognize that, yo, man, it's a little soft right now, right? And yeah, we're getting good third party support, which, by the way, I can't fully support right now because a lot of the games that I do want to play on and get for the Switch too, they're fucking key cards, and I'm not going to support that shit, right? So just as you mentioned earlier, you said Yakuza. Yeah, that's a game I would love to play on the Switch too, but once again, it's on a game key card. I'm not buying it, right? Uh, so in other words, I on some level I am starting to feel that drought. Like it's like, oh, where are the games, right? Even though the games are coming out, they're there, third party or not, right? But in terms of first party, yeah, Nintendo crushed it in their first year, and so far, it's a little on the limp side, right?
I'd have to agree. I think it's lukewarm.
Yeah, it's lukewarm,
But
and they need to smash it out of the park. That's why this direct, again, I'm not expecting much, but they have to knock it out of the park. They have to bring out the big guns. They have to announce Animal Crossing. They're gonna go ham on the Splatoon reveal, and they have to reveal the Metroid Prime 4 release date. Drop some more Pokemon news, right? And they have to do something with Mario. And I'm not expecting anything Zelda at the moment. Not even a Switch 2 version of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. I'm just talking about any Zelda news, period. I don't think there's not gonna be much for Zelda in this direct. I don't think. Well, maybe for what, the Calamity, the Warriors game. Oh my God.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll get a release date for the Calamity
Yeah.
game.
Um,
Um,
but
sorry, go
major
ahead.
Zelda news, no. But for now, I think, yeah, they gotta break out the heavy hitters, man, because this so far, this first year, you can't all bet it on Donkey Kong, right? Which again, it's a phenomenal game, right? And Pokemon, it's gonna be great. It's gonna do well despite its quote unquote shortcomings. But and then you have Metroid, which is not exactly the
It doesn't set
biggest.
the world on fire.
Yeah, it doesn't set the world on fire, right? So yeah,
Regardless of how
man.
good it is, right? And regardless of how good it is, um, you know, um, okay, and I agree with you. I think that this is, and that's why I think this is going to be six. I think this is why it's 60 minutes. I think that one of the things I tweeted, I remember after the last partner direct, was kind of like someone misread the room.
Yes.
And I felt that to be really true. I felt like even as a partner direct, it could have been stronger, and hopefully we'll see a bunch of stuff. But before we get out of here, I want to know, what do you expect to see, and what do you think is gonna like make this a memorable Nintendo Direct?
Okay. So give me a second. Bear with me. someone put on X or Twitter throughout the question, which is, what is your unrealistic expectation? And I said, all games revealed will be on physical game cartridge. So that's my unrealistic expectation coming from this direct. So all kidding aside, in terms of first party, we already covered that. Nintendo they have to throw it all out there. They have to let everyone know that, okay, we heard you the past two directs. This is gonna make up for it. In terms of third party, once again, third party games, I want to support them. You look at my collection, right? You know what I own. I want them all on physical game cartridge, and then I'll buy the games. That being said, right, my wants and desires are the Resident Evil series, Devil May Cry.
That's a good one.
Right?
That's a good
Devil
one.
May Cry.
That's a good one. DMC5 is a really good one. I didn't think about that.
And more of Square Enix support, right? Like the Final Fantasy 7, you have to let us know that they had, like Square Enix, they have to let us know that they're committed to bringing out the trilogy. It's going to be a trilogy onto the Switch 2, and hopefully, once again, not key cards, has to be game cartridge, and of course, Kingdom Hearts. They have to, all of them.
You know what? I think that's a really good call too. I think some of the games that were cloud versions on the Switch, including Kingdom Hearts, I would love to see that. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I think we need native ports of those, right? I do think we need native ports. I think that what I really think is going to break the internet, and I really, truly, and wholeheartedly believe this, I think if we see something significant from Mario, the internet will break. I think the other things that we need to see in this Switch Direct are actually not first party, although I think we need to see first party games to kind of know what the future of Switch 2 for Nintendo diehards is going to look like. One of the things that I really expect to see, and I hope to see, is that we see a shadow drop of Marvel Rivals, because that game as a team-based shooter has kind of like taken this thunder from Overwatch a bit to me, just in terms of conversation. Like I hear people talking about Marvel Rivals.
Overwatch is done. Just so you know that.
I mean,
that game's done.
like, but this is what I'm saying. Like in that team-based kind of like cartoony shooter, I think that Marvel Rivals would be a huge get because again, what I'm thinking about is like, what are the strengths of this system, right? Mm-hmm. It is a hybrid system, it is portable, and it's powerful. I think when people can play the games that they are used to playing on their PCs or on their big brother consoles, on the Xbox Series or PlayStation, but they can travel with them, that will be game changing. And the other game that I think will absolutely make it'll be a divisive one, and people will cry on both sides. People will be like, oh no, Nintendo gamers don't play this. I think we need to see a competent version of Call of Duty that looks amazing. I think if we see Call of Duty, Marvel Rivals, and Mario, and I think that, to me, that would cover the gamut of what would make a successful direct, because I think it would hit like, and I know people will probably crucify me for saying this, but like, to me, Call of Duty is a casual game, not because it's not hardcore gamers that play it, but it's because that's the game, like that's the type of game that people will only like, they will buy a system specifically for Call of Duty and only play that game. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think like if we were to see Call of Duty running really well on Switch 2, and shucks, if it somehow like had cross-play or some, I like, that's what I'm looking to see. So I'm hedging my bets on seeing Call of Duty, Marvel Rivals, something Mario related. But we've been on this podcast for a little bit. I definitely want to wrap it up, and I want to say thank you for joining me, Brooklyn Wolf. If you guys are not familiar, please check out Brooklyn Wolf's content on YouTube. He is Brooklyn Wolf the Collector. Um, he is one of the best reviewers of high-end collectibles and figures.
You're far too kind. It's far too kind.
It's just real. It's just real. Definitely like subscribe to Brooklyn Wolf, the collector. Channel is really amazing on YouTube. Again, this is your boy Shape for WaggleFest signing off. Looking forward to this direct on Friday. And let me just tell y'all one last time. If Marvel Tokon shows up at this motherfucking direct, remember who you heard it from first. I'm out. Peace.
Later.